eventually. That Garland's got him pinned right here. Like, right, this is a penalty. It should be called. At the end of it, he cross-checks him right in the...
Oh, you mother... Okay. You think you can do this to me? King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Connor McDavid was suspended 3 games, as well as Tyler Myers, both of them cross-checking guys right in the face. McDavid's incident, it was Connor Garland. I forget who Myers' guy was. But you get people that are saying right now, Connor McDavid, he takes all this abuse. He doesn't draw as many penalties. The refs let people get away with everything on him, and he doesn't deserve 3 games. Anthony, I got to start this one. No, he deserved 3 games. You can't cross-check somebody in the face. Can't. What if, first off, let me start with this one. This is the reason why you have to go hard on these guys right away. If he missed, hits him in the Adam's apple, that's so much worse. And that's why don't go trying to cross-check guys in the face. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, I get that the referee should have called the penalty on Connor Garland earlier.
Yep.
And if that happens, McDavid probably doesn't cross-check him in the, where he did. He was frustrated, but at the end of the day, I don't care. Like you can't just get up and just cross someone in the, in the face because you're frustrated that they were kind of mugging you on the ice. It's just inexcusable, and I don't care that he's the best player in the world. You can't do that, and I have no problem with the league suspending them for 3 games. And not only that, but like while it was a penalty what Garland was doing, it's not like he was doing like unforgivable things when he was on the ground, like spearing them in certain areas or doing anything heinous. He was just giving him the business on the ground. And McDavid got up and was frustrated. Now, if like Garland had done something like that, did something really dirty or really cheap when McDavid was on the ice, and then he got up and did what he did, I might feel a little differently. But no, that's not the case. He was just kind of holding them down, and like I said, just kind of holding them, giving them business a little bit. Like he didn't do anything, that was atrocious to him. McDavid gets up and does something really dirty and cross-checks him in the face. That's not called. It's uncalled for, and he deserves a 3-game suspension. And like I said, the ref should have called Garland for a penalty, and if they do, that doesn't happen. But that's ifs. It wasn't the case, and McDavid just handled it poorly.
And I'm looking to see if the chat let me know who was in the and by the way, we got our illustrious Mr. Filkowski watching right now. Everybody remember to like, share, subscribe. Anthony, I'll bring up this incident, and it's one that you and I in our fan bases, we know very well. Ryan Hallwig on Chris Simon. Ryan Hallwig checks Chris Simon. Chris Simon turns around, sees Ryan Hallwig, and slashes him in the face. If he missed, you're talking about potentially Ryan Hallwig dying on the ice. You cannot let that happen, because here you hit his chin. Oh no, it's a bad incident. You hit his trachea. You might be talking about something else entirely. Yeah. So again, guys that are doing stuff like this, no, you gotta make an example, and it doesn't matter if he's the best player in the league. You got to be held to an even better example. Even if it was McDavid's first time offense, I got to give him 3 games and go, dude, you're the face of our league. You can't be doing this. But Anthony, one more thing for the A block. But the reports that are circling around, J.T. Miller almost traded to the New York Rangers. And first off, the deal, there's a rumored deal from every other person all over the place. So I'm not going to get too far into it. Supposedly it was Heedle, 2 young players, maybe Braden Schneider, who they coveted, and a draft pick. Anthony, I don't see it. I just don't see JT Miller going back to the Rangers. And it's not just my feeling on reunions. I don't like the fit. I don't know what the purpose of getting him is. And if you're going to bring in a guy that's $8 million, what are you doing? Like him and Zibanejad are going to be unmovable for the next 5 years. And he was already a problem in New York. So I'll see to you, Anthony.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that it seemed like it was so close to happening, and then it just literally at the at least right now, fell apart to the point where it was like the next game after the scratch players in Hartford played, Miller played, and things kind of just, totally just went away here for a bit. I would imagine both teams are still talking. That I'm pretty much 100% certain of. Can they? My thing is with the Rangers, can they make up that gap that caused things to break down? Like there's word that the Canucks wanted, the Rangers wanted certain trade protection on the first round pick, and the Canucks, I guess didn't like that. They want a guaranteed first. So if that's true, can they find a way to clear that hurdle? And then there's talks of, the Canucks are concerned about Philip Hedl's injury history, which is rightfully so. I mean, you're talking about a guy that, could, God forbid, he gets hit one more time in the head, and that could be it. So do they want to give up a guy like Miller and get, him as the main piece back and, and have to deal with him maybe getting hurt again? So, can they kind of overcome these things and maybe come to a common ground, or, could the Rangers add something else to compensate for those worries, or, could, the Rangers give them a guaranteed first next year, or, in lieu of a pick this year? That's all stuff that, we can't, say. And actually, Phil just brings this up, which I forgot about in the moment, but there was the report that the Canucks wanted to retain salary. And I mean, that part, I think, that's a really tough hurdle to overcome, because, it's not like Miller has 2 more years left on his deal where you could say, okay, well, it's not a big deal if the Canucks retain, 25%, because a year it'll be gone. He's under contract to
I believe it's a 2030. I'll double check that right now.
There's no shot that a team is going to retain, a portion of a guy's salary for, you're talking, 5 years. That's just not. I know the cap is going up, but do you really want to retain that much salary on a guy that's going to be on your books for 5 more years and he's not playing for you? I would sincerely doubt that. So the Rangers are demanding that the Canucks retain salary on Miller. I don't know if that's something that you can get past. I mentioned this before. I mean, if Zibanejad was going back the other way, then that kind of clears that hurdle, because the salaries and years are almost a wash. But clearly Zibanejad is not waving to go to Vancouver. So without Zibanejad going the other way, I can see why the Rangers want that salary retained. But I don't see Vancouver caving on that. So the Rangers would either have to accept that they're not going to do that, or they try to come up with some other solution. But I mean, the last rumored deal that Friedman had said, because there was a lot of different rumors.
There's so many different rumors. That's why
Lafreniere, Schneider,
we're not getting into details.
Then it was Lindgren, but I think the latest that Friedman said, it was Hedl, a first, and a prospect. So if that wasn't good enough for Vancouver because of the protection on the pick, and then Hedl's injury history, then I don't know. I don't know where they move from there. So yeah, he could still very well become a New York Ranger. The Carolina Hurricanes are apparently in the mix. You heard the Devils, the Stars mentioned a little bit too, but Friedman said that his belief is that Miller wants to go somewhere in the Northeast region. So I mean, that's Islanders, Devils, Bruins. Yeah. So we'll see what transpires. He played last night, so I would guess a deal isn't really imminent, being that he played last night. These things can kind of come together quick. All it takes is, one phone call to change things.
One thing to mention also is he's from East Palestine, Ohio. So why not possibly go play for the Blue Jackets? I mean, Davidson might want to take a big swing and try to go get him. Maybe he's a piece that could actually really help. Oh, what if Alexei Lafreniere was in there? That's a dangerous precedent, because then you're going to sign a guy to a 7-year deal and then say, well, we want you here in the future. We're going to get rid of you. That's a dangerous precedent. I talk about contracts that they're feasible, but when you trade a guy before his extension doesn't kick in, like if the Rangers did that supposedly to Shesterkin right now, that kind of makes a lot of the stuff that you're looking to do pretty worthless on the contracts. And I would be wary. And this is where people talked about the distrust in the front office and in Chris Drury. And I would have to say, don't do that. Just absolutely don't do that. If a player's got an extension, they're with you next year.
I know for the Rangers that, obviously they have strong interest in Miller. I know you hate reunions because he played there before.
Absolutely hate reunions.
But I think that I get why Drury wants him. I mean, he's a guy that can score 100 points, and obviously Drury still believes that this team can win. So, if you could add a player like that to your mix without, subtracting key pieces to it, why not do it? But at the same time, to your point, Mark, yes, he is going to be 32 years old. Do you want to add a guy of that age when some of other your key players are that age as well, like Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin? It's a little dicey, but. For me, it made more sense when there was the talk of Zibanejad going the other way. With him still there too, I don't know. I mean, he's a good player and all, but I just feel that it would have worked better if Mika went the other way. But beggars can't be choosers, I suppose.
Right. And Anthony, I gotta just again extend to this. You got a guy. He's making $8 million. Just want to make sure of that number. Yeah, $8 million AAV.
So no, just to touch on this, Elliot Friedman had said that's not. I mean, he's heard that's not really the case. I mean, Miller hasn't really given the team a list of teams or whatnot. He said they have the Canucks have a good idea of what teams he will waive for. So no, I don't think this is a situation where it's Rangers or anybody. I think he would waive for the Rangers. I think he would waive for the Hurricanes. I think he would waive for the Devils. Again, there's that north. The belief is he wants to go back to the Northeast region. So I think there are at least four or five teams that he would waive his no move for.
And a lot of people could say, I think one take I saw on this, Miller could be hard on his teammates, and shouldn't that be a guy that you want on this team? Well, not really, because we saw this locker room response to that right now when they try to have their coaches take accountability. And that's from a coach that has won numerous amounts of games, the most for any American-born head coach ever, and he's in the top 10 NHL all time. So let's start with that one. But let's not forget that only two players on this team played with JT Miller as a New York Ranger, Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad. That's it. There's nobody else. So he's not walking into a locker room where he's going to be welcomed back with open arms. Everybody remembered who he was. No, they have no idea who he is. And a lot of people might remember the JT Miller that was banging his stick on the net on a 6-on-5 with the Vancouver Canucks 2 years ago. If you're going to be harming your teammates on the ice, I mean, and then imagine what they're like in the locker room. So I'm not a big fan of Miller, not a big fan of his game. Am I going to cheer for him in the Four Nations tournament? Absolutely. Would I want him on my team? I don't know about that one. I can't answer that 100%. And again, I'll bring this up again. I say it all the time, everybody. Reunions do not work out. They never do. I think Marty Ruchinsky is the only one that had a positive effect. So, but Anthony, just to conclude this. So we have Carolina, the Devils. You said Dallas, because you'd probably wait for Dallas, because why would you go to Dallas?
Yeah.
But
and then like I said, Friedman also said he wonders about the Islanders too. But I don't.
Yeah, they were trying a couple years ago. I remember you were on the phones working so diligently on that, and you were saying that it almost happened. So
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.